Afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Let's go ahead and make sure you all can hear me. If you please type the number 1 in the chat box, let me know that you can. I would greatly appreciate it. Happy New Year. Hey, Jeff. Fantastic. Oh, my screen is not shared. Sorry about that. And we need to get the camera on. Oh, there we go. Over there, where is it? See it? All right, much better. Welcome, 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 everyone. But we can't hear you. I appreciate it, Lee. Thanks. Oh, welcome, everyone. I hope you did have a great New Year. I hope it's been a good start for you so far. I hope you've got your New Year's resolutions, hopefully still in place. Listen, even if you fail on it, right? Even if you put a resolution in, you're not going to eat chocolate anymore, and January 1, you ate chocolate, just stop it again on January 2. It's okay. Just put the effort in. It's not a wait till next year type thing. It's do it now, right? No different when you're trading or anything else. So, all right. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I hope it's been a good year so far for you. It's been an interesting one as far as the market goes. I had to cancel last minute, but last week's power hour because I had gotten COVID over the holiday season. So we had a big family gathering at a family member's house on Christmas Day. I got COVID. It wasn't horrible, but I got it. My mom got it. That was bad. She was hospitalized with it. So she's home now, knock wood. Spoke to her a little while ago. She's doing much better. She's excited. She gets her dog back today, which someone's had a dog now for about 10 or 12 days. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always interesting, it's just the different things that it caused, right? I wasn't as sick as I thought I could have been with it. Did not get vaccinated this year, so I thought maybe it would have been a little worse. It wasn't. Really, the worst thing for me was this horrible metallic taste in my mouth that was a 24/7 thing. And it went as fast as it came. I just went to bed and it was there, and I woke up and it was gone, which was okay for me. I'm not missing that. That's for sure. But it wasn't bad. Mom is asthmatic, so for her it was a little bit more traumatic, a little more challenging because of the asthma to have to contend with it. Yeah, there you go, Jim. Flu running around Texas. I got flu from my son before school before Christmas. Yeah, it's just same thing. We're hearing that here. This RSV. It's pretty hot and heavy right now. There's a lot of it. Yeah, Kevin said I got COVID when I went to Massachusetts over Christmas, and that's the big thing. I remember Fauci, the divine, right? Talking about don't gather for holidays, stay away. Everybody should stay indoors and wear masks. And my mom's going to be 83 this year, and she's like, I'm done not kissing my kids and my grandkids. So masks are not an option for me at the house any longer. I'm not doing it. She does if she goes out in crowds and doesn't know people, but she refuses to do it. Yeah, holidays are always a more sickly time. It is what it is. So, but I'm back. I'm good. Feeling so much better now. Energy is there through the roof, actually more than I had before, without a doubt. And that might have just been the week of downtime, just being kind of like, whoo, man. Now I got some legs to run, so I'm happy for that. So keep in mind as we get started here that everything we look at is for education. Nothing's meant to be advice or recommendations. If you find something you like, anything, make sure it fits your own personal risk profile or risk tolerance before ever taking on that trade, that setup, or the indicator. Glad you made it, Kevin. Excellent. All right. So we got a lot happening. Inner Circle check-in coming up tonight. The quarterly training comes up on the 19th and 20th. That starts at 8 a.m. It's at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. That is with Ryan Litchfield. We'll be teaching that one. Mastermind is tomorrow night on the 9th. Wealth with Spreads Q&A is on the 10th. So we're rocking right back into it. Trading You and Monster Market Movers, got those coming up down the road. Pop, covered call, E-mini, all on the regular schedule. We'll be back up, not quite on the regular schedule. So Pop, we got to change that. That's not the days any longer. I thought, Lee, we got to get that fixed in there. It's no longer on a Tuesday and Saturday, right? It's on a Monday and Thursday is the normal days. So guys, I will be traveling this week, so it will probably be Tuesday, Friday that I will do them, but we will get them done. All right. If I get a chance to do it Thursday night before my flight, I will. Free trainings coming up. We've got Power Hour. Of course, we're here. No class on the 15th. We're going to be doing it on the 16th because the 15th is a holiday. Trading Coaches Playbook. That's scheduled as is. Brandon's, this is the Crush It in 2024 month. Brandon's doing Crush It in 2 hours, and I'm doing Crush It in 2024. So we've got 3 different dates each listed there. So make sure you get yourself registered for them. Each one of them are the same class, whether you go to Brandon's 9th, 11th, or 17th. It's the same training. Same with mine. All 3 are the same. So just pick 1 or 2 of them that you want to make if you want to just rehear it again a second time. But and you're welcome to come to all of them. I'll never stop you from that. So, all right, excellent. Here's the follow us page. Make sure you're keeping up with what we're doing there, guys. So, just an FYI, one of our videos on TikTok has gone viral. My guess is we're near 600,000 views on that video now. So if you're not, I'm just looking, I did not look over the weekend, so I don't know exactly where it wound up. But if you're not looking at our TikTok, you probably should check out some of the things that we're doing there. It's pretty cool, actually. We got a lot of different trainings that we're putting up there. Sean's got his entire team working on breaking this stuff down for us. Some existing videos we have. We're at 583,000 on one. Our next closest one is 160,000. So even ones that I never thought would do anything, got 10 and 20,000 views on them. So people like what we're putting out there. So make sure you're checking them out. Here is our manifesto, Trading Boss Manifesto. So this is really meant to be our commitment to you, right? As a company, what we agree, what we feel a trading boss is, and the goals that we have to help you aspire to get there. Crush It in 2024. All right, so I shared those with you already, the 2 different dates that are on there, right? So now here's the question. What trades did you guys do today? And remember, I don't really care if they're funded or non-funded. We assume everything we talk about here is non-funded. What I do, what you do, they're all non-funded. It doesn't make a difference. This is all about accountability and hitting the enter button. Are you doing it? Are you hitting that button? Are you doing it again and again and again? That's what it comes down to. Let's see. Trip said, ye old Hakanashi scalp on the Qs, 25% rate of return, $792 in 10 minutes. Great job there. I know Amelia sent a trade and I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. Let's see. Scott said, I just closed a trade on UAL for 59% crush and premium, got about 7% rate of return. Woo! Nice. Jennifer said, Boeing on news, but still in the trade. There's nothing wrong with that. Good job, Jennifer. John said, Wheel of Fortune on Riot, CRSP, and WBA, naked puts on AEO. Cash flow of, drum roll please, $1,400. Good job, John. Good job. Remember, this is all about accountability, folks. Here we are. We're going to talk about, we're talking about crushing it in 24. We're going to do a recap of last year, right? That's what this is all about, right? So drop in what you did. If you have, if you're a slow typer like me, don't worry. I'll still read it out for you, okay? So here's a trade that Amelia put on today. This is on Nucor and UE. And these are 5-minute candles. You could see that she did on today's date, right, at 9:38 this morning. She bought to open 5 contracts of the 175 puts. She bought them at $9, $9 limit order. And she put an order out there and sold them at 9:43, color 44, 43. So 5 or 6 minutes later, she's got 6 minutes, 11% rate of return in 6 minutes. I'll tell you what, woo! I'm okay with 11% in 6 minutes. Go ahead and annualize that sucker out and say, okay, the market's open 6.5 hours a day. If I can make 11% every 10 minutes, which you can't, right? But man, it's pretty interesting numbers to check out, Let's see. Yeah, good thing, Les. Oh, goodness. Les said, made a tiny mistake in SPY and now $179,028.35 in the hole, which means down. Good thing it's in my paper account. Yes, very good. And that's it, folks. That's why we do it this way. You can't start a paper grocery store where you pretend to sell, you pretend to get a store, you pretend to get groceries, you pretend to get customers, you pretend to make sales. You can't do that. You can't do it in real estate. You can't do it anywhere except in the stock market. It's the only place you can learn before you earn. Truly, truly learn before you earn. Let's see. Kevin said, bought the SPY up 23% on one contract. Nice. No trades today for Jim. Let's see. Scott said, I tried to catch the Hakanashi move on the cues. However, my computer wasn't cooperating. I know, very nice, right? I got a brand new laptop, Scott, and I struggled immensely with TradeStation today where I had to uninstall it and reinstall it again while the market's open, which just caused hell on wheels for me today. And I'm getting ready to go away, so I've got to make sure it's working before I leave. The nice thing is I will be on West Coast time. And our event doesn't start until about 9 o'clock, which means 12 o'clock here, which means I've got plenty of time in the morning to look at markets to see what's going on. Jennifer said, can she include the dollar profit with the percentage? So, I mean, yeah, it would be nice if it was on the screen. That's a good point. Lee, ask Amelia, send Amelia an email that says when she does the trade updates, if she could put in the P&L in dollars as well. I mean, we could see it right there, Jennifer, in a 9 out of 10.05, so it's up $1.05. But it'll be easy if it's on the screen. Let's see, no trades for Brenda. Stephanie said, already stopped out of 2 trades today. And we have those days. We all do, Stephanie, right? So I applaud you for fighting through it. Yeah, no kidding. PK said, if you're leaving town, mom must be doing well. Praise the Lord. Yeah, so not only am I leaving today, my brother leaves tomorrow, right? So she has no children left here. Now, my mom said something to my youngest daughter, never told me that. Said to my youngest daughter, I wish dad or your uncle were going to be here just in case. And my daughter said to her nanny, you have me, you have my sister, and you have my mother. If something happens, one of us can come and help you. So that certainly put a smile on mom's face. Yeah. There you go. Okay, good. All right. For me, one trade going off today. Was on Qs, was all it was. Small trade. I wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't going to take it. Decided to. We got a nice pop today on Qs. We moved right up to the R1. We broke out, small push down, finagled around on the first 1 minute candle, got a bounce. It's just about a $1 move. It produced about 60 cents on the options price. So nothing great. I didn't do a lot of contracts because I wasn't crazy about the setup. Of course, I wish I did more. I did not take the second bounce off of the 2 to 3, which was a bigger move, a nicer setup, but I didn't take it. I was watching some other things that nothing came to fruition. And just based on where the market is right now, and when I say that, be careful. I don't mean the market's in a bad place. What I mean is when you have this massive run up and then you get this pull down and then you start to bounce around a little bit, there are difficult decisions to make of, do we have a really good setup in there? And the answer is usually we have a setup, whether it's really good or not is something else, right? It's kind of a quasi clear and concise entry, maybe, if it wasn't for the elephant sitting on the road or the broken tire, rubber, or whatever, right? There's something messing you up there. But it wasn't a great, there were no great setups, at least not on the stocks that I look at every day. And you're right, PK, better than a loss. Listen, I'm not fighting it and saying, oh, this is horrible. There are days that, we've had trades that we've lost 50 grand in the day, right? And you can go watch my videos on that. Okay. They're all over YouTube. We've lost 50 grand in a day, right? And that's great. That's fine. That's good, right? Right. And there were days that we had phenomenal moves to the upside. And, again, it was all non-funded accounts, right? So there are days that we had great moves as well, right? You're going to get those days that are kind of like, okay, you made 60 cents. If you did one contract, you made $60. Like, was it worth my time? You know what? It's an experience that you've gained. It's in the win column. And when I say win column, I'm not talking dollars and cents. I'm talking about it's in the win column that you learned from that trade. You chose to take that trade. You made a decision based on X, whatever X was. In this case, the breakout of the R1, the small retest of it and the bounce, realizing that I was pretty close to support. I didn't have a lot of room down. If I was wrong, I'd be out of the trade fairly quickly, right? Took 3 candles, 15 minutes, boom, boom, boom. And we hit up resistance and we're good to go. Again, I didn't catch the R2 to R3, but it's not really my jam. I like that first move of the day. I like that first pivot, test and bounce, not the second time it does it, even different levels, or the third time and so forth. Could I have held on and did a runner on the trade? Possibly, but there's a good chance that on this candle, I would have been stopped out. on the pullback. So, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, just not something that I did. Roman said we need to do something. We need to do something to NVIDIA. I can control Tesla through Amelia, but with NVIDIA, no connections. Yeah, I get it, Roman. I know. Right? I'm just not. Right? I mean, what a move today, right? But out of nowhere. Okay. So again, AI-based type company, right? The one thing that, just to put a side note on, today or tomorrow, there's talk of the approval of Bitcoin ETFs. We originally had the Bitcoin, BITO, BITO, and some of those like that, which were futures-based, but they didn't own anything. These ETFs that they're talking about is the reason we've seen some of the boost, at least that's what they're touting it as. The reason we've seen some of the boost in Bitcoin prices. There's talk that Bitcoin makes it to 60 grand on this. Again, I think Bitcoin has a lot of value to it. I don't think it should become your portfolio, meaning only thing in your portfolio. But I do believe that there is a place for it in each person's portfolio, regardless of how small it is. I do mine fairly simply. I know others that trade it differently than I do, but I use a Robinhood account. That's it, just Robinhood. It's easy, very easy to open up, to set up, and so forth, right? Just switched phones not long ago, had to relog into the account. Real simple to do. So I do like it as a company. As far as Robinhood, but you use whoever you like. That's okay. Yeah, we're going to do SPX in a minute, Roman. So right now, if you're trading the coin itself, it's just Bitcoin, BTC, right? BITO is, let me type it in right. BITO is one of them, right? ProShare is Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Okay, that's one of them. You could see. I mean, it went from $14 up to $22, right? But it started out around the 40s. All right, so woo! Volume on what, Tom? On which? I don't know if you're talking on NVIDIA or what do I've got? F9. Let's change that back out. Okay. Let me just take this out of the way. Okay, good. On NVIDIA. Okay. So let's see. Let's go over to template number 1. So I'm not seeing. Oh, that's not it. I'm like, wait, this is not NVIDIA. There's no way. All right. So from a standpoint, Tom, you look at the bottom panel here, the bottom pane. From the standpoint, we don't have a volume spike right now. Yes, we've got really good volume for the day. Here it is, 12 o'clock, and we've pretty much hit our average for the day. But I don't know what the news was that even drove it there, because NVIDIA was not on my list. We were up near a resistance level at that 500. I do like that it got above the 500. I'd love to see that retest and bounce on that 500, that 505 rather 48, and then 521 is resistance. But I don't even know what the news was that drove it in this direction. And again, there's just so many things to like about NVIDIA as far as a trading vehicle, right? But it has been a little challenge in the last couple of weeks with this no move, move. It's just, we got to move up, but it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to take the trade off of. Now, you could have inserted a pivot in there and said, okay, it's an artificial pivot, but we're going to work off of that. But Roman said NVIDIA found a way to do a chip for China. Oh, that'd be interesting. While being sick, what else are you doing besides watching TV, right? I really had no interest of sitting in my office. Computers did not interest me whatsoever. The market, certainly not. My head was too heavy, stuff, congestion. So there was no way thinking doesn't work well for me as far as focused thinking, right? So mindless thinking, you're watching TV, right? So Madam Secretary, which I'd watched the show for years. I love the diplomacy type part of it, and watch what I do to you to get my way type things that they did. Has been a big part, a big thing. Even I was watching a little bit of it this morning while I was doing some other work on the other computer, getting ready for my trip. So I just had it on in the background. It was just an argument between U.S. and China, right? And that's just that's a big thing. So I'd love to see what the U.S. response comes back as of, are we going to stop you from making that chip? Because there are great concerns, whether you like it or not. There are concerns with some of these power nations like a China and getting some of our technologies and so forth. I mean, even in this Madam Secretary show, the Chinese ambassador had threatened the U.S. that when she's accused him of something, he said, "We're in it for the long game." He said, "We already own 21% of your debt. We don't plan to go to war. We're just going to call our debt. Your economy will collapse." And they're so damn right. Yet we keep letting them buy the debt. Right. That's why there are things that stop them from buying strategic things. Like right now, there are limitations on property, not property, but farmland that they can buy, farms, right? That stop them from owning food. Can you imagine? Yeah, we're just not gonna make food anymore, right? What that would do as a country. But I don't know, so I guess the news of just that move of them being able to provide a chip to China, and they've just had such phenomenal growth. I mean, you go back to 2019, they were at $50. Less than 50 actually, but 30, 35, and right now they're at 500. So it's just been amazing growth. Even if you go back to September of 2022, can't say last year anymore, right? Of September of 22, where they were at $1.25. Now they're 4 times that, right? So they've had some phenomenal growth in there. All right, let's take a look at the S&P. And let me go back to template number 2. All right. So we actually have a new fib drawn on the S&P 500. I drew it last week in pop, right? So we came off of the October 27th. We went up to the December 28th. So just about 2 full months straight. In there as well. So, that's a good question, Les. So here, watch. On NVIDIA, I said, were there any reverse stock splits? The greatest thing, one of the greatest functions on Omega charts is if you look at the bottom of the screen, I've got mine set up. These are dividend, right? And then there was the earnings. You would have an S in there, right? And even if I go back to an F9, we don't. Oh, what's this here? There's it looks like 2 things there. So when is that? 21? Let's go back and look at 21. Nope, what I see so far is all just dividend. So right here, something is in there. July 19th. So I cannot tell what's behind that, right? But if I'm concerned or thinking less, it's a split. So we're looking at the 20th of July. Now I hit the letter U. And that stock did a 4-for-1 split there, right? But I was looking for a reverse. Did a 4-for-1 split there. So we were at over $800, went back down to about 200. Right? But that's how you do it. And then you hit the letter U again. It puts it back as a technical pattern that is tradable or chartable, I should say. All right. So back to the S&P. Come on, baby. Okay. So as I said, we drew this new fib recently on the S&P 500. Good little pullback. Not as far as I'd like it to be, but a good little pullback. when we look at what's going on right now, guys, you really need to step back and analyze exactly what's happening here. And you've got some very serious decisions to make now as far as what the market is doing today and may or may not continue to do in the future. So if I take the chart, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and bring it off the screen by a couple of days. All right. So we were in a bullish bias right here, true bullish bias. And this takes us back on the 29th of December. So wrapping up the year, right? True bullish bias. The moving average is moving up. We're kind of topping out at the zero line on the fib, but all is good. The next day, which is January 3rd, we gap down. Next trading day. We gap down, and it puts us into a bullish neutral bias. What that basically means is back here, I'm ready to trade, right? I'm not sitting back in position 1. I'm in position number 2 right now. I'm ready to trade. We're there. Now we pull down, and I'm in a very much position number 1 in the chair place. I look at it and cannot get real excited about it yet. And even if I can get excited about if it does break out, I still have that zero line right up above our head, which has a secondary resistance or ceiling of that 100-point level, that 4,800-point level. So there's a lot of strength up there to be concerned with. So we go another day, right? And we gap down and we keep running. We're still in a bullish neutral bias. Maybe we get a bounce. We've got a confluence of the 21 and the 100-point level, the 4,700 level. Maybe we get a bounce right there, right? We did, and then we hit resistance and we pulled back, but we closed lower than we had opened. So looking to the bear side at this point, right? Then we open up flat. We'll go flat the next day. We're up a little bit, down a little bit. I do like that we chipped away at the ice, broke down further through that 21, right? Now, let me back up a second. So on this day, we're in a bullish neutral bias. On this day, stock price closed at 46.88, 68, but 46.88 is close enough. The green line, which is the 21, is at 46.92. So we're about $4 lower, which means we closed in a neutral bias. So now I am back in position number 1 in the chair, and I'm not interested in a directional trade, at least not overnight. I could find a day trade in there, but I need the right setup, okay? So we go the very next day, we bounce. Well, now we're in a bullish neutral bias, right, Rob? No, we're still in a neutral bias. When you have bullish bias, which means you're above the moving averages, all 3 of them. Bullish neutral is when you're between the top 2, 8 and 21. Neutral is when you drop below the second one and above the third one. That's neutral. All right. The way out of neutral is not back into bullish now. And it's actually not even to bullish neutral. Once you hit neutral, you hit a reset button, and you have to get back to bullish before you can get bullish neutral. At least that's the way I look at it. You look at it any way that works for you in your head. But I want to see bullish first before I jump, because that will prevent me from saying, all right, this is a place to take a long entry. And maybe it is, but I'm not looking for the maybes. I'm looking for the probabilities. We pop up there. We get just about into that bullish territory. And that's today. That's today. So I'm looking like, what days? That's today. Okay. So depending on where we close right now, we are barely in bullish territory right now. 47.23 is our price. Is our moving average. 47.24 is our price. So we're in there by $1. Now, what's even stronger about that? So that's just the analysis of the last few days of candle movement, right? But look at the pattern. Look at what's happening down here. You have the 8. You have the 21. They're very close in location to each other. You've got a fib in there, the 118. You've got a 4,700-point level. And that's 4. And number 5, you've got this diagonal trend line, which was phase 3 of our uptrend pattern in there. There's so much on the side of bullishness here, as long as we can maintain above it. And if we break that, not only does it put us into more of a bearish connotation or pattern, we wouldn't be bearish yet, it would be neutral still, but it becomes more bearish because why? We got the 21, the 8, the 100-point level, the fib line, and the uptrend line, all 5 levels become violated. Right? That is where a very big decision has to be made over the next day or two. If we push up a little higher, come back to that 4711 line, that black horizontal line, retest and bounce, is that enough for you to take that bullish entry? Or if we break down below the diagonal uptrend line, is that enough for you to take the bearish entry? And the breakdown or breakup for me would require some kind of retest. If it failed, come back up. It doesn't have to hit it, but move towards it. Get close enough to it that I can look at it on an intraday chart and go, that was it. That hit. I'm good. I'll take that. Right? And then fail off of there. I'm okay with all of that. But it's got to make that move first for me to have an interest in it at all. Just one iota to have an interest in it. Okay? So whether it's up or down, the answer is yes, you're there. But right now, I need to sit back and analyze what I'd like to see happen. In all likelihood, which would I prefer? Bullish. But bearish can make money faster. Yep, it can. It can. There's no doubt. You're right. Spot on. It can make money faster. Here's the thing. We're in an overall bullish pattern with our moving averages. If we break down to the downside, I'm in a neutral bias going against every bit of the moving average setup. I'm not saying that that doesn't work. What I'm saying is if I had my choice, bullish would be it. Right? Besides any long positions that you have, if you're bullish and you are actually owning stocks and so forth, you're going to see more appreciation in them to the move to the upside. So where do we go from here? If we break, it's a very clear bottom pattern that we're looking at 46.31, right down to this fib line, 236. If we break up 47.93, 4800, somewhere in that area is what we're looking for to the upside. Can it break above that? I really hope it does, right? We're looking to get back to the previous highs we've had. We've got 48.87, 4900. I think 5,000 is an opportunity. I think we might see 5,200 this year on the S&P. Again, depending on what? Depending on what's going on with everything else in the world. Right? But depending on what's going on with presidential election or no election, right? We're going to let, Trump gets picked in the primaries and then he gets arrested. And then there's nobody to run for president, right? So do we call martial law and just claim the presidency again all over again for Biden? Maybe. I don't know. What happens and we're going to talk about these in just a few minutes, but what happens with all the stuff going on around the world? What happens with, Charlie Munger passing away? Right? Think about that. Charlie Munger, second in command for 99 years old. He's going to be 100 pretty soon, of Berkshire. There's been a lot of fear that what happens when he goes away. He meaning Charlie and then Warren, right? What happens when they're not there any longer to the company? What happens to our investment? I can't tell you I do own shares of Berkshire B shares. I don't own the $1 million ones or $500,000 ones, the A's, but I do own some of the B shares. They've outperformed everything else that I have for the most part. I mean, they've done phenomenal. So long-term investment. When it comes to that type of stuff, I'm a Warren Buffett believer. Don't buy a stock for a day if you're not willing to hold it for 10 years, right? And I think that something like a Berkshire B shares are long-term, and you can get really good covered call premium on them as well. So just something to keep in mind. Yeah, he did. Jennifer Munger did pass away recently. Yep, and then Jennifer said, and I'm concerned about who manages it after he dies. So I am listening to a book right now on Audible. I had it on at the gym today. I'm getting pretty close to finishing it up. It is called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, Caldini, right? I got 58 minutes left in the book. But I don't know if you can read it. I can, shows right there. I listen at 1.65 speed. Okay. So this was like a 14 or 16 hour read. But at 1.65, I'm doing it in, 8 or 10 hours, whatever it was. So it is a great book, Glenn. Yeah, Gwen, it is. It's a phenomenal book. I really do like it. But he talked about in there of something with Charlie Munger, and that came out before Charlie passed away, of course. But he talked about Charlie Munger and Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett. What happens with the two of them there? Whose concerns of shareholders are, and they're very well voiced, who's going to run the company. And Warren made a big deal in one of the shareholder letters, the announcements, that he's already chosen and trained someone to run the company exactly the way he runs it now. So that definitely brought some relief to individuals, but that doesn't mean a lot down the road, right? My wife's uncle, the parents did not like a girl he dated, and he never married her until both of his parents passed away, and he got married within a year, right, to that girl. Right. So yes, he made a promise he wasn't going to marry her until they weren't there anymore. And they didn't have to see it and deal with it and complain about it. And, so what happens when the new guy takes over? I don't know. And we can't worry into that part of the future of good, bad, or indifferent. I think you really need to focus on how's the performance been? How's management? It's a big piece of it. If you look at it from the Warren Buffett method, he looks at management. Right? Management is doing phenomenal with it. Right. Absolutely phenomenal. With it. Karen, sure, it is. I'll give you the exact. It's influenced by, well, there's a subtitle to it. The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And that's the picture of what you're looking at. And again, I'm very much an Audible person right now because I have Audible when I don't listen to it in the car because I can't focus. I'm very focused on the road and I can't focus even at single speed. I can't focus. So I don't do audiobooks in the car unless I really don't care about it. Then it's just noise in the background. Can't get a signal. I'll throw an audiobook on. I have a book at my bedside that I read every night. And then I have a book down here in my office that I read regularly as well. Right. Not as much when I'm down here, but if I've got available downtime, I would rather be reading that book than popping on a TV. Because I'll overdose on 3 episodes of Madam Secretary and realize, oh my goodness, what time did I just waste? Right. So, but I always have multiple things going on at one time. The audiobook is just easy. If I'm in the gym for an hour and a half, which is my normal when I go 2 or 3 times a week, it's an hour and a half. So that's, a lot of book that I can get in. The expression leaders are readers, that goes without saying. All right. We look at VIX real quick. And fear's down. I mean, there's nothing even to worry about. It's almost a non-starter. Who cares? Don't bring it up. You're annoying me. Why are we spending time on this? Right? Well, it's low, guys. It's super low. 1333 right now. Yeah, I definitely need to cut back TV because time easily wasted. Yes. So there's a gentleman. His name is Dan Sullivan. He runs a company called Strategic Coach. He's coached just about every major coach out there has been his student. I am a student of his as well. And he's got some great books out there, and podcasts and everything, stuff you can get for free. You don't have to buy his books, and I don't get anything for it. So buy them or not is up to you. But he talked about can I do this type thing of giving up television? And he gave it up for, I forget what the time frame was. It might have been 30 days. He might have done it through Lent. I don't remember, but he gave it up and never looked back. And now it's 4 or 5 years since he's watched TV. Right. So how important is it? Listen, I love Blue Bloods, right? But how important is it that I see it? It's okay. All right. It's not that important. No, I'm not ready to give up TV. Right. TV is what gets me through not the boredom here, but the quiet, which doesn't work. Like even now, I'm teaching. There's no one else here. I mean, y'all are here, but you're not talking to me, right? So on my other computer, I've got a radio running. I've got music playing in the background. Radio. Music playing in the background, right? I can't really hear it well, but it's that structured noise that I must have to not have panic attacks and freak myself out. Let's see. Kevin said, have you seen the Great Taken documentary? I saw it this weekend. Pretty good. No, I'll take a look at it. Jennifer said it's an escape, but I lose my focus. You mean TV, Jennifer, or listening to the radio? To music. TV, yeah. Listen, and it is an escape. Don't get me wrong. I love walking in somebody else's fantasy, right? But I am not a sitcom type guy. I don't do funny well. I'm not, I say it's exactly how I tell my wife. Everybody loves Raymond. And I'll put it on because I know she likes it, right? And I'll put the TV show on and I'll say, hey, listen, everybody loves Raymond except me is on. Because I'm just not a fan of that. I don't like what I call stupid comedy. And that's what it is to me. You look at it and go, oh my God, how stupid can you be? When there's that in there, it's not for me. Go watch the movie Rob Roy McGregor, go watch the bar scene, and you knew there was a setup coming. The movie went off, and I then went back to watch the rest of it because I had no interest, right? So S&P 500 doing well. We had a great gain so far, on the S&P in the last couple of months. The VIX down nicely, all good, but we're at some pivotal points right now. So we've got some decisions or some things to deal with over the next couple of months. Yeah, your nervous system needs to be calmed down. It's called peace, smile. Exactly. It's called Ashwanda root. That's what calm is for me. Ashwanda root. Right, but you are right. You do need you need the mental break. It can't just be work. The days that I teach in the evenings, I'll do a class from Monster Market, which goes from 8 to 10 p.m. Right, and I'm prepping for it for at least 2 hours before we get to class. On those days, I used to start my day off 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And if I didn't get to the gym that day, because I don't go every day, I try to get 3 days a week. But if I didn't go to the gym that day, I literally be working the whole day. I would eat lunch in my office. My wife would come home. We would eat dinner together inside. I'd help clean up a little bit, and I'm back in my office again, right? Where now I force myself to walk away and leave because I need that mental break. I'm realizing that I just can't. I don't want to do that any longer. It's too much. Helen said, I usually don't have anything on because I love the sound of silence. And that's great. And that's the important thing, is to recognize what works for you. The trading psychologist I worked with said, yeah, you can't have silence. He saw the nervousness in me and the stupid trades that I was doing because there was according to him, no sound. He was quiet and he didn't say a word as he's sitting here with me, watching me. And he said, put on a TV. But how am I watching the TV? It's behind me. He goes, you're not watching it, you're listening to it. But if I'm listening, he goes, it's just noise. Put it on. And you can just see the difference in how I trade it. So it's just a matter of identifying what works best for you, right? So I want to talk about, where are we? 2023, the year in review. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Linda. No kidding. Linda said, if you have Prime, my husband and I really like Reacher. Yes, I watch it every week. It's on the second season. You need to watch the first one. Yes, you have to watch it. First character's background is special ops investigator. It's a great show, guys, if you get a chance to watch it. That's the type of programs that I like, right? My daughter can't watch it because people get killed in there. She's going to get sick when she sees blood. I'm like, nah, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't mind. So 2023, the year in review. I took some notes just to not miss some of the things in there, right? It's going on longer, but you've got the Russia conflict with Ukraine, the war. You've got Israel that we're contending with right now, right? Look at inflation, how much that has affected people throughout the course of this year. Gasoline prices. Granted, Saudi Arabia today just announced, or yesterday announced, they're lowering price on their oil production, costs, the selling price. So we've seen the market come down, but we're still only at $82. I went to Costco the other day and picked up gas at $2.89. What used to be, by me, the most expensive gas station in the neighborhood is now the cheapest gas station in the neighborhood. They were yesterday at $2.99 cash or credit, where most places at that price are cash only. But gas prices, unemployment being so low, good or bad? Yes, it's good if you're looking for a job. It's bad if you're a business owner, right? Trying to find the right people. And guys, it's not just here. This is the funny thing. It ain't just here. We use a lot of people overseas that work for us in our back office, very technical positions. programmers, video editors, things like that. And we were looking to hire someone, and it took us, where usually we'll get 20 candidates in a week. It took us a month and a half of hardcore push to find one decent, not great, even decent person for the position we were looking for. We pushed it back, we waited, and we went back at it again, and then found someone to hire for that. But there's, even there, we're seeing some of that take place, right? When unemployment, I'm talking about. So good or bad, right? So right now, what did they say? The last I heard, I may be off a little bit on my numbers, but for every person that's on unemployment, there are 1.2 or 1.3 jobs available. So more than one job for every person to choose from. Okay. We still have, when I look at that, I'm like, why do we have any unemployment at all? If there's so many jobs, why do you have unemployment? Well, I know why. Because there are people that aren't going to work no matter what you do to them. They're just not. There's not. I know people like this, right? A family friend of my in-laws, the husband, many years ago, he's passed away now, but he fell off a roof. He was a roofer. We were on a 3rd-story building. He fell off a roof, hurt himself pretty bad. 6 months, 8 months later, he was back in swing of things again. He could do roofing. He just didn't do it on the books. He did it off the books now and collected welfare, right? Welfare is a great program. We got to have it in place. It needs to be managed better, right? But he got his unemployment as long as he could, went on welfare, and just collected the rest of his life, literally to the day he died, collected while he was working jobs, all cash, right? Getting paid all cash. Okay. So, unemployment rate right now being as low as it is it good? Is it bad? Yes, it is. There's different opinions on how it affects us as an economy and what it does to things like the market because of that. The companies can't find good workers. It's tough. I mean, and yes, we implemented mandatory minimum wage hikes, and I think everybody needs to be paid fairly, no question. I just don't personally believe that McDonald's deserves $20 an hour, which is what they're talking about in California right now. That should be the job of, you're in high school and you're trying to get some extra cash. It shouldn't be the job you're trying to pay for your family, because at a full-time job, that's 40 grand a year to work at McDonald's flipping burgers. So what does McDonald's do in reaction to it? They implement kiosks, so they need less people working inside of the store. They now have this test going on where a robot on a conveyor belt delivers you your food at the drive-thru, right? Where there will not even be a person there, right? Some places have gone to no cash, credit card only, no making change. It's right at your table. Here's the machine, slide your card, go. All right. A lot of changes because of that, right? A lot of changes. Barry said, I hate those kiosks. I much prefer giving my order to a human. Me too. I agree, Barry. But sometimes, I've been in Panera Bread with my mom not long ago, and there were 20 people online, nobody at the kiosk. We went right over to the kiosk. 5 minutes later, we were done. So, but I get it. I like the idea of having people there. Yeah, Jennifer, wherever you go, right? Wherever you, and listen, I'm not saying that $15 is too high or too low. I don't know what the answer is, but please you cannot advocate for pay hikes and be upset with price increases. You can't. The thought that business owners make all this money. When I was in manufacturing, in a large manufacturing company, $80 million plus a year, we brought 6 to 8% on an average year to the bottom line. That's it. 6 to 8 cents of every dollar we sold is what our profit was. That was it. Make a couple of mistakes through the year, especially the customers we had, Walmart, screw that up, and there goes $200,000 out the window. You got to throw it out and start all over again. Right? So, okay. So, but you can't complain about prices when you've got unemployment there. It's just something to consider, folks. You got to be watching these metrics as things move forward. Right? We've got the first time of the previous president of the United States winding up in trial like he is. Okay, that's been tremendous. Okay, we already mentioned Charlie Munger passing away. Right, big thing this year. And then look at housing. There's been all kinds of fears. My wife and I have been very steadfast of looking for places in Florida. Now we've backed off from there because she's very diligent with this. She's got certain people that she watches all the time on what's going on. It's amazing to listen to her talk economy. I love it. But what's going on with housing, particularly in the Florida market. And I had a conversation with my neighbor across the street the other last evening, two nights ago. He has a friend of his owns property in Pompano Beach. And it was a condo. And a little bit older building, but nice place. He bought it a couple of years ago. He bought it like 2021, something like that. So he did okay on price. He didn't get crushed, but he did pay a little bit more than he should have. Excuse me. His maintenance fees were $400 or $500 a month. I forget exactly. But they're now $1,000 a month. So they doubled his maintenance fees. And because of this new law that came into effect January 1 of this year, they came out and said, well, these are the repairs that we see have to happen within the next 10 years. So you personally, Mr. Property Owner, we're reassessing your house where you owe $100,000 extra on your home. You don't have to pay it all this year, but you do have to pay 10% of it every year. If you don't, we take the property away and we resell. Right? And what do we get? We get whatever you don't get, you don't get. We don't care. As long as we get what we need for ours. Right? That reassessment has really stretched him to the point of, can he even afford to live there? Well, now what? Move somewhere else? Buy a house in Florida instead. Yes. Well, now houses versus condos are going through the roof. Right? Where it was the other way around. You'd rather have somebody manage the property for you, paint it, mow the lawn. You don't have to worry about any of that. The amenities are taken care of. You got a pool, a tennis court, whatever it is, a clubhouse, blah, 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 blah. Right? So all of these things with housing, right, have caused an amazing move in our economy. Right? And when you look, the markets here. So the open of the S&P last year was 3,859. The low was 3794. So 50 points, 60 points lower, somewhere around there. The high was 47, we'll call it 4793, we'll call it 4,800 versus 3,800, so almost 1,000-point gain, move to the high rather. And it closed at 4770, we'll call it 4,800. So we got about 1,000-point gain. It's actually 911. Go figure on the number. 911 points to the upside. A 19% gain for last year. Now, people are going to look at that and go, wow, that's a great gain. And you know what? You ain't wrong. It is a great gain. But what most people don't recognize is this. Right? I'm on that's weekly now. Let's go to monthly chart. I'm on a monthly chart right now. Okay. Oh, let's do this first. Let's go back to the daily. Let me go ahead and make this fib not go to other windows. Okay. Now let's go over to the monthly. I wanted to get rid of that recent fib that we had on it. Okay. So now we're on a monthly chart, and I'm going to hit the letter Y for yearly. Right? And now I'm going to bring this sucker in. Okay. So look at this. You go back, this right here is 2021. We had, look at the candle. We had to move up to about 4,800. And then we dropped almost to where we started for the year. And that's in 2022. For 2023, we went right back up again. So guess what? In the last 3 years, we had a great move in 21, 22, and 23 brought us back to break even from 21. There's nothing gained in there. People are like, oh, I made 19%. No, you actually didn't. If you lost 20% the year before, if you had $100,000, right? If you had $100,000 and you lost 20%, then now puts you at 80K. If you made 20% on your 80K, that's $16,000. That puts you at 96K. You're still not even at break even, not to mention inflation being 4, 5, 6, 7, 9%, depending on when you're looking at it in there. You're still not at break even. Right? The cost of money has gone up. The cost of stuff has gone up. Immensely has gone up. All right? All of this positive of what's the market done and the great moves we've had and the negatives of the wars and all of that other stuff happening. Guess what? It's just called life. And you're going to have to deal with this every single year. Every single day, you've got these types of things presenting themselves in the market that you're going to have to contend with. Day in and day out, year after year, right? Let's see. Increased pay, increased costs. Homeowners insurance is horrible in Florida. I know. I'm a homeowner there. I've got one. 40% increase this year. Yep, Glenn, exactly. The insurance. Barry said, I know several people living in Florida, friends and family members, and semi-competitive former dentist and now educator, to you, who has written several books on covered call. Yeah, I'd love that, Barry. Yeah. Hey, Lee, can you do me a favor? Take that info from Barry and send it to me in an email. But guys, when you look at what's going on in the market right now, and you look at, let's go to a bigger function here, bigger picture there, cancel, monthly, that's not one, not two, monthly. Right, and you look at what's happening right now in the market, guys, we're in a good position. The market itself is setting up, but again, we're at that pivotal point. So where does it go? I don't have the answer to that, and you don't need the answer to that. You don't need a magic ball that tells you, ooh, this is what we see coming up now. No, look at the damn chart and determine what's happening now and make your decisions from there. Are you going to wind up with stocks like NVIDIA, one of my favorite stocks to trade, that have become very difficult lately, and you're back here in position one and you get to do oogats with it? Nothing. Yes. Guess what? It's part of life. It's part of trading. Find a different stock at that point. Anger is not going to help you. Forcing a trade is not going to help you. You know what's going to help you? Following your plan. Put a plan together of exactly what it is that you're going to do. I mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned it here. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in Mastermind, is where I believe it was. I believe. But I'm working on a program right now. It's probably third or fourth quarter before it's done. But I'm working on a program right now where you'll be able to go out and answer a series of questions, and it will write out for you based on the strategy creation system. Your entire trading system will be created based on what you answer in those questions. Every bit of it will be done for you. What do you guys think? If I can give you something that says, here, just fill in these 10, 20, 50, I don't know the answer yet, questions, answer these, and then it's going to build out a system that you hit enter and it will print it for you or save it to a PDF. Right? Can you guys get excited about that? Not really, not many of you. Because I ain't got to do it. It's just a lot of work on me. Believe me, I worked on it. Actually, I probably spent about 10 hours on it while I was dealing with some of the COVID stuff. Yes, okay. It was Mastermind, Linda, right? Yeah, there we go. That's what I thought it was. Yeah, John, it is a good idea. And we're going to offer it to everybody, so you'll be able to take advantage of it, guys. It's just, listen, I wish I had something like this when I first got started. I didn't, right? This was blood, sweat, and tears to figure this all out, right? Just sit down and generate the plan and write it all out and get it all done was a lot of friggin' work. A lot. Am I happy I had to go through it? Yes. I'll tell you one last thing and I'll leave it at that. Because we had an investment club many, many years ago. Myself, a couple of friends of mine, my mom, her best friend, we would meet once a month. It was based on National Association of Investment Clubs, NAIC. Okay. So they had a process, and it was all investment, right? The only thing we did differently was we wrote covered calls on the stocks when we got to 100 shares because we couldn't afford to buy 100 at once. We were only putting, I want to say $20 a month in per person. But you could put more, but up to a certain amount. You couldn't be more than a certain percentage of the entire portfolio, 10% or something. The entire, or 20%, whatever it was. So when we first started, you'd have to go to the library. You would get this document. I forget who it was from, an S&P, Standard & Poor's printout of the company, all the details, the management, basically all the fundamental type stuff. And then you would enter it into a software program and you had to analyze it. And I was really good with this program. And my mom and her friend would do them together. And then they would do their presentation. I would say, no, the numbers are wrong. And and then they finally, after months of doing this, they finally got it. They're really good at it. And then they came out with a brand new software program. And the software program did the work for you. Right? It did all the math. It did everything for you. You paid a fee. It was an annual fee for it. And there was 1,000 companies in there, the 1,000 largest companies. So when I brought it up, do we want to get this? It was yes. My mom and this woman, yes, resounding yeses, right? Well, then now someone new comes into the investment club, and Anne was the woman's name, would stand up and said, but they have to do it by hand first. She wasn't doing it that way, but saying it would be really good for them to learn that way. It was, we had to do it by hand, so they have to do it by hand now too. Okay. Do I think it was a bad thing to learn it that way? I don't. I wasn't bringing them into the group because they were great fundamentalists and could figure out all the math, right? If the program does the math, it's called a calculator. Why do I care? Right? Just give me the answer. I don't really care how you get it. Just give me the right answer. As long as you're not doing something wrong. No, Tom, I don't have anything online right now to build a trading plan. I have videos that I've done in places where we talk about building plans and the things to put in there. But this will be an actual document that will be hooked up based on my strategy creation system, that you'll be able to answer this series of questions and print out a system. And the struggle right now comes in that looks a lot different if I am doing a covered call. Oh, let me do it easier. If I'm doing buying a call or a put versus if I'm doing an iron condom, right? There's a whole different set of metrics I've got to come up with. So what I'm struggling with is having to build one for each one of those major systems out, right? That's where my holdback is right now on it. All right, so there you have it, folks. A wrap up of 2023. I'm expecting really good things in 2024. As I said earlier, I think Bitcoin's got a great opportunity, and Ethereum, both of them. Ethereum's going to ride the coattails of Bitcoin. I think there's a great opportunity this year for that. So, keep your eyes on some of that. I think the market does have room to move. I think we break all-time highs this year on the S&P. But again, all the news type stuff that we talked about, if the war escalates somewhere or China gets into war or this or that or the other, right? Can that hamper the market's move? The answer is yes. There's a lot of turmoil in the world right now. We need to fix some of that stuff. And hopefully our government can get online and do just that shortly. So, Tom said, I'm the simpleton looking for calls and puts. That's the easiest strategy to do, Tom. So why wouldn't we, right? It's also the one that has the biggest opportunity. But you're also looking at your risk is factor in there. How much risk am I willing to take? If you're sitting on a $500,000 portfolio of stocks that you've owned for 20 years, covered calls is a great strategy, right? It's just a matter of what suits you at that time. Yeah, no kidding, Brenda, without a doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. You have a great rest of your day. God bless. Appreciate y'all being here. Happy New Year again. Thank you so much for being around with us, and I will see you all on our next update. Take care, everyone. Go kick some tail. I'll talk to you soon.